The United States and China may be inching closer to a game-changing breakthrough in trade negotiations, or at least, that's the narrative emerging from the White House this week. After years of escalating economic tensions, mutual tariffs, and political posturing, a new tone of cautious optimism is beginning to take shape. In a public statement that quickly caught the attention of economists and global investors alike, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt shared a surprisingly upbeat outlook on the current talks. "We're making great progress toward a potential trade deal with China," she said in an official briefing. "The president and his team are laying the groundwork for an agreement, and from what we're seeing, the momentum is clearly moving in the right direction." This statement marks one of the strongest signals yet that both economic giants could be preparing to ease years of aggressive trade policies and reopen more cooperative lines of commerce. And this comes despite the recent surge in tariffs, some as high as 145% on Chinese imports, and Beijing's swift retaliation with its own 125% tariffs on American goods. What's interesting is how this glimmer of hope managed to send a ripple effect through financial markets, injecting a rare moment of calm into what's been an increasingly volatile economic climate. Stocks rose, investor confidence ticked upward, and whispers of a potential de-escalation began to circulate among trade analysts. But perhaps the most compelling moment came not from the press room, but from behind closed doors. During a private gathering organized by J.P. Morgan Chase in Washington, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent addressed a select group of financial leaders. According to a source present in the room, Bessent didn't hold back. He described the current state of U.S.-China trade relations as unsustainable for both sides, a candid admission from one of the country's top economic voices. He reportedly painted a stark picture, saying the tit-for-tat tariffs that have defined the last several months have created a mutual trade embargo in all but name. His remarks strongly suggested that both nations are beginning to feel the economic strain of continued confrontation, and that high-level officials may now see compromise as the only way forward. This rare alignment, a public White House statement of confidence, paired with private concerns expressed by the Treasury, could be a sign that significant policy shifts are quietly underway. Whether that leads to a formal trade deal or simply a truce in the tariff war remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the dynamics between Washington and Beijing are changing. And this time, the signals aren't just rhetoric, they're resonating across boardrooms, markets, and international headlines. According to a source who attended the high-level meeting, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent didn't mince words. He reportedly described the current situation between the United States and China as a mutual trade embargo in all but name. His remark referred to the intensifying wave of punitive tariffs both nations have imposed on each other throughout the year, a tit-for-tat escalation that began shortly after Donald Trump's dramatic return to the White House in January. Under Trump's leadership, the U.S. has launched an aggressive tariff campaign targeting Chinese imports. These aren't minor increases, either. We're talking about additional tariffs reaching up to a staggering 145% on a broad spectrum of products. From industrial components to consumer electronics, the list of affected items has sent shockwaves through global supply chains. The administration justifies these actions by pointing to two main concerns: China's alleged involvement in the fentanyl production and distribution pipeline, and long-standing accusations of unfair trade practices, including state subsidies and intellectual property theft. Beijing, unsurprisingly, didn't sit back. In swift retaliation, China fired back with a powerful countermeasure: tariffs of up to 125% on a wide array of American goods. These include agricultural exports, automotive parts, and energy products, all critical to U.S. businesses and rural economies. The message from China was clear: two can play this game. For a while, it seemed like the two economic titans were careening toward a prolonged and damaging trade war, one that could send inflation soaring, disrupt supply chains, and create uncertainty in financial markets around the world. Global investors braced for impact, manufacturers scrambled to reroute production, and economists warned of possible recessionary effects if the standoff dragged on. But Besant's private remarks may be hinting at a different trajectory, one toward de-escalation. His characterization of the situation as unsustainable suggests that there's growing recognition, on both sides of the Pacific, that this economic standoff is hurting more than it's helping. Behind the political theatrics and public posturing, there may be real pressure building, from industries, consumers, and even internal advisors, to find a more stable path forward. And let's be honest, both countries have plenty of motivation to come back to the negotiating table. The U.S. is still battling post-pandemic inflation and trying to rebuild its manufacturing base, while China is facing slowing growth, youth unemployment, and an ongoing real estate crisis. With so many internal and external challenges stacking up, neither superpower can afford to bleed billions in a prolonged tariff war. So what could all this mean for global trade, inflation rates, and the movement of goods across borders? Are we witnessing the start of a strategic reset in U.S.-China relations, a pivot toward a more collaborative, economically driven agenda? Or is this just another round of geopolitical smoke and mirrors designed to calm the markets while the real tensions continue to simmer beneath the surface? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think a meaningful U.S.-China trade deal is actually within reach this time? Or are we being led into another high-stakes bluff with no real endgame? If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like the video, share it with others who follow global economic news, and subscribe to the channel for more sharp, no-nonsense takes on international politics, trade policy, and the forces shaping the world economy.